Neighborhood Churches is a ministry of Grace Harbor Church located in New Bedford, Massachusetts, that seeks to plant, replant, and revitalize churches in the forgotten places of New England. Our burden centers around two realities. First, where is the greatest gospel need? And second, where is no one else going? We could ask the question, as Christians, how should we think best about missions? Where should we go? Where should we send mission dollars? How should we focus our prayers? Well, the first thing that we would challenge any church or organization or person asking such questions is to first and foremost follow God's Spirit. Be sensitive to where He is drawing your heart. But secondly, we would urge you to consider where your mission efforts can make the greatest impact. Thinking particularly about UPGs or unreached people groups. You see, many people don't know that in the United States, there are two such places. There are actually two places that are quantified as unreached. Salt Lake City, Utah, and all 6 states of New England. Well, what exactly does it mean to be a UPG? Well, it means that less than 2% of the population living there would identify as a Christian. So just to put that into perspective, what that means statistically is that you actually have a better chance of meeting a Christian and hearing the gospel in India that's 2.4% Christian than you do in New England. So for those who are considering how to best steward their mission efforts, friend, I want to encourage you to pay attention to what the Lord is tethering your heart to. I want to ask you to consider focusing on an unreached people group. But then lastly, I want to encourage you to consider going to places that no one else is going to. The reality is that a very small percentage of all church planting that's happening in the United States is happening among the poor working class people in impoverished communities. Neighborhood Churches is seeking to plant, revitalize, and replant churches in the entire South Coast region of Massachusetts. Cities that are surrounded and characterized by being predominantly poor working class, plagued with generational poverty, abuse, violence, mental health issues, and addictions. It's often not these types of communities that are on the radar for church planters or urban missionaries to go to and to give their life for. And so what we're doing is we're desperately praying that the Lord would change this. We're praying that planting in neighborhoods and communities like this might not be the exception, but might become normative. We're praying that the Lord might lead your church to respond to the gospel opportunities that are waiting in our cities by partnering with neighborhood churches, that you might send vision trips and mission teams and interns and urban missionaries, maybe even church planters to come and establish healthy churches in forgotten neighborhoods. The reality is that there are those in your ministry who feel called to missions but don't feel called to go overseas. So where do they go? What do they do? Well, friend, by partnering with neighborhood churches, together we can develop a missionary pipeline and a strategy for your church to raise up and send out missionaries to New England. We can develop a strategy for your church to have a tangible and meaningful responsibility in planting a new church in a forgotten neighborhoods that no one else is coming to. And so we want to ask you to consider to join in on what the Lord is doing in the forgotten places of New England by partnering with us to send mission teams, to send missionaries, and to establish healthy churches.